Okay, everybody, welcome to the Stay True team call. Today is November 10th. I'm a month behind. See, I got to catch up to y'all, but we have a special call time tonight. We had to accommodate for our special guest that is joining us tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Moppy, so you can introduce our guest.
Hi, everybody. I just want to introduce Erin Pitcher to our call tonight. Erin has been so kind to join us and share her tips on social media and just tips on success. This woman is incredible. She finished law school. She had about 207 success club points in the month of September. She finished over 50 success club points in October, and it just has a great, amazing team that is growing. And so I thought it would be great to have her during our team call and share some of her tips with us. So welcome, Erin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am really excited to be here and share some tips with you guys that have worked, for me over the last year, especially in the more recent months. I've kind of gotten into a groove, so I'm happy to share those with you guys. So did you want me to just kind of tell a little bit about myself, or?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can just move into some of the topics that we have planned for today.
Perfect. So my name is Erin. I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 26 years old. I just recently graduated law school and am studying for the bar exam that I take in February. I was just telling Moppy and everyone that I had taken it in July, failed by a couple points, but I am getting back on it, and I'm going to study and pass it in February. So I started coaching about a year ago. I was one of those obnoxious people that took months and months and months and months to convince. So my poor coach, she reached out to me so many times, and I'm so blessed that she never gave up on me and continued to follow up with me. I was one of those that thought Beachbody was a scam. I didn't think that it was like a real thing. I didn't think I really was going to be interested in something like that. I didn't really get Shakeology. I didn't understand what that was about. I didn't mind the at-home workouts. I had done P90X before, but it took a little bit of convincing and a lot of patience and, giving me lots of resources. And I finally took the plunge the beginning of August of last year. And I've just hit the ground running. I am on Sarah Try's team. And if you guys don't know who she is, she was one of the elite coaches last year. She was top 20. I'm also on the same team as Carly Del Carlo, who's ranked, I think, number 7 right now. And Brittany Powers is on my team too, and she just won the Fall Classic today. So I'm so proud of her. And Alexa Campbell was number 5. They're just doing awesome. So I've been blessed with a really great upline because I know that's not always the case for some folks, but it's been a really interesting go with Beachbody, and I really believe in the products and the company, and all the coaches are always so nice and welcoming. So it's been a great experience. So I guess, some of my accomplishments with Beachbody would be being a Success Club 10 All-Star. In January, I had over 100 Success Club points. February, again, same thing. And then in September was my biggest, which was being number 1 in Carl Deichler's Get on Your Bike and Ride with 207 Success Club points. So Success Club is a big thing for me. I always try to hit it every single month. And so that's just some of what Beachbody has done for me. So as far as some social media tips, I know that I gave you guys some documents and I think you guys got them on your team page, which is great. Those are the documents that I give my team and part of something that we go over in our coach training and we talk about regularly. So I'm just going to go over the 6 main things, kind of just a brief overview, because you do have the documents and the articles and the resources, so you can look at those at a later time. But I'll go over the top 6 things that I was really thinking about for you guys, and then we can open up the floor for some questions.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, perfect. So before you even consider social media, there are a couple things that you really want to think about. And I learned a lot of this from Shailene Johnson and some of the other top coaches, and just from figuring it out myself over time. But first, when you sit down, and I'm going to focus this, I should back up a little bit. I'm going to focus this more on Instagram because that is the platform that I use. And it gets me many more clients and coaches than Facebook. I am Twitter illiterate, so I do not know how to use Twitter. I don't use any other social media platforms. I'm pretty sure like MySpace is outdated. But so Instagram is my go-to. I do have a Facebook like page, but like I said, I don't use it as much. So with Instagram, and I think just in general, but you want to start off by picking 3 to 6 things that you represent. So for me, when I started my Instagram, I started at the beginning of my weight loss journey. So it's always been about weight loss. I was also, and still am, really into yoga. So, I like to post things about yoga. I was in law school, now, going to be a lawyer. So that's something else I represent. And then I'm just really into just health and fitness in general. So those are the things that I try to represent. For a while there, I was posting a lot about fashion and stuff like that, and people love that. But now that I'm at home every day working Beachbody, I'm kind of in workout clothes more often than not. So those posts are far and few between. But so those are my 3 to 6 things, right? And with those things, you want to create a brand. You want to be recognizable. You don't want to just be another face on Instagram, right? How many Beachbody coaches are there? There's like over, 240,000? I mean, can you imagine how many of those are on Instagram? I come across them 24/7. And there's just a ton of fitness pages. And they're all really generic. It's like Build a Booty, like Fit Girls United. I don't even know. It's just weird names and like weird content, so you want to stand out. You want to be something and someone that's recognizable, have a logo. My logo happens to be legal scales with an apple and like a weight on one side. So that's my logo that I like to put on things. I also have like my signature is another logo, just so, keeping things in accordance with your brand, right? If you're going to post something, make sure it represents one of those 3 to 6 things. If it doesn't, don't post it, because it's just not representative of who you are and what you want to be about. And it's kind of out of place. So those are the things you want to start off thinking about, right? Every time you post, every time you do anything, that's going to be your overall thing you want to think about. Now, some of the more detailed things that are super, super important with posting on social media, not just Instagram, but social media in general. If you are posting a photo, you need to be very attentive to the lighting, the angles, the depth, the staging of the photo, right? You don't want to just post a photo like in the dark. Like there's photos I come across on Instagram and they mean so well and their caption might be really good, but I don't know what I'm looking at in the photo, like at all. I have no idea. And so, that's not something that I would recommend doing, right? So you want clean and clear and crisp photos. Bright colors do really well. They tend to get a lot of likes. If you're a guy, and that's mostly for women. If you're a guy, you want bold, strong colors. But things that are overly saturated, right? Super yellow or super red, those don't tend to look as aesthetically appealing. So in the documents I gave you guys, I provided articles on photography tips, not just for Instagram, but in general, because I know not all of us are photographers, and that is something that I've had to learn. But it really is important, figuring out the best angle of something, even yourself, learning those angles, learning how to pose yourself, so that, you catch a flattering angle, that you catch the right depth of something, right? If you're going to go in really close on something like food's a great way to, zoom in, but making sure you have the right depth, those sorts of things are really important. So check out those articles. Those will be really helpful. The next one is photo editing apps, right? Make your photos exciting and do that through photo apps. Again, in my documents, I've left a list of all the apps that I use on a regular basis. So I like to add text to to my photos. So the main one that I use is WordSwag. But if you're an Android user, I don't think that they have WordSwag for you yet. I don't know. You'll have to check. But another one is Rana Designs. I use her app all the time. And she has Rana Magic now, which is awesome because you can do really awesome overlays. So you can track your weight loss progress with an overlay. You can layer images really well. So those are some really good apps, and they also have good text on them too. So figuring out, what text you're going to put on there, right? Using filters. And the filter thing, I have found that using apps like Snapseed to really sharpen my images and mess with the ambiance and the white balance and all those kinds of things, I do that first before I ever even put a filter on a photo, because I want all the details, all the important things to be done first before I even try to mess with the filter. I'm not a huge filter fan. I usually try to keep the images pretty much intact, because lighting, right, like I said, is super important. So I try to get the lighting right so I don't have to edit a bunch. I don't have to spend time doing that. So filters, good apps for filters are things like Afterlight. Instagram has their filters, but you can't really mess with them as much as some of the other apps. So I like Afterlight a lot. There's some other ones on my list as well. And then, things like collages, slideshows, movies, those are huge. Now, my favorite is called Bubble Frame. And the reason I love it is because you can have, your set square photo for Instagram, and then you can have like a floating bubble, and you can move it around wherever you want, and you can put your video in there, or you can put multiple videos, multiple bubbles. You can have, photos and videos. So I like that app. Allows you to be creative because you can put bubbles, you can change them to squares or oblong, all sorts of stuff. So I like that app. Another great one is Pick, Play, Post. That's a great app to use as well. Video Shop is a really fun one to edit your videos. iMovie is my favorite, but I'm still learning that one. They have like the best movie editing stuff, but it takes a little bit of a learning curve. So expect to put in some time on that one, but that one does produce the best movies. For collages, I do things like Pick Frame. There's so many out there that it doesn't really matter. But when you're doing those collages and those videos and those movies, the same concepts apply, with lighting and angles and that sort of thing. So all keeping in alignment with your brand. Now, the next thing to really consider is content. You want to be positive. I can't tell you how many times I come across a post where someone is either being super negative or, that sort of thing. So, sorry, I was looking at the time.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought, I don't know why, that we have the posts or the link I posted should have been for an unlimited one. So that stinks, but go ahead and keep going. And when we get cut off, do you mind jumping back on? I'll send out another link.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure. I was like, is that my computer doing that?
Yeah, no, it threw me off too, because we never have that.
We're never limited, so.
No, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. So content, be positive, because I do see a lot of negative posts. And what I have seen too is with Beachbody coaches, and even some of my own that I've worked with them on, is when you write something, there's a difference between being honest and vulnerable, which is another thing you want to be, right? You want to be honest and forthcoming about the good, the bad, the ugly with your progress. So you gain weight, you lose weight, you had a cheat meal, you really screwed up, whatever. You want to be honest because people want to relate to you. But there's a difference between doing that and complaining and making your posts sound more negative than they need to be, right? So always try to keep it positive. If something bad has happened, something hasn't gone your way, always follow it up with how you're going to remedy it. And how is that going to help you learn and grow as a coach and as a person? Because people want to be uplifted, right? If you're a coach, you're there for motivation and support. So, you got to give that to your clients and to your followers and things like that. But again, biggest thing with content is being real. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. And I think, I'm going to speak for others, but some of the feedback I've gotten was that They do like how real and open and honest I am, how I do talk about the not good stuff, like when I gain weight or when I have like one too many margaritas and I'm like bloated for a week straight, or, that sort of stuff, or I didn't get my workout in, or, I talked about when I failed the bar exam. I talked about all sorts of stuff. And I think that's why people relate to me, is because I'm not just another fitness account shoving the solution down their throat. I'm not just saying, buy this workout, buy this program. It is a documentation of my life. And I try to be as open and honest with people as possible so that they realize that they aren't alone and that they can turn to me in a time of need, because I do understand. So that's a big thing. The next thing would be, frequency. Your business activity tracker says you need to post on social media at least 3 times a day. You have your 3 topics. You have your health and fitness post, your motivation post, and your personal post. So when you are posting, use that as your guideline. My suggestion is actually to post 3 to 6 times a day to stay pretty relevant, right? But at least 3 times. And if you have trouble posting on social media, set a reminder in your cell phone so an alarm goes off, right? Or make sure that at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the times you're sitting down to eat, you're posting something. That way you're at least getting traffic to your page, right? And use hashtags on those posts. A great app for that is Tags for Likes, and so using those hashtags will generate followers, which also leads me to my next point is, how do you gain followers, right? Because in order to use social media in your business, part of that is you need to bring traffic to your page and prospective clients and coaches to your page. So to do that, my suggestion and what's worked for me is to use shout out pages. For the longest time, I was super against paying for a shout out. But with that being said, I have found that there are a few accounts that I will pay for, and I will pay for them because they get me several thousand followers every single time that I post something with them. And that the one that works the best for me is Train and Transform. It used to be InstaFem Fitness, but she no longer does shout outs. But Train and Transform has been wonderful for me. I only do that every so often. When I first got started, I did free transformation pages, and sometimes people would just shout me out and I had no idea, and sometimes that still happens, which that's awesome. It's like Christmas. But some paid shout out pages are a great way to gain some interest in your either weight loss transformation, or maybe you have a great recipe, maybe you're a foodie and you have some great stuff, or maybe there is another thing that, in your 3 to 6 things, maybe you're into yoga and you want to get shouted out on a yoga page. So keep your eye out for major accounts, with, a lot of followers that, offer that option, because it is a great way to build your network, right? We're always trying to build our network and reach out to more people. So use that as an option. And, another thing with gaining followers, and it kind of is tied in with everything we've been talking about. Think of your like Instagram or even your Facebook page like a magazine, right? Even like your personal website. I know I have a personal website. You want it to like look like a magazine, look like something that someone would really want to read and sit down. Awesome. It is upgraded to Pro. There's no time limit. Perfect. So yeah, consider when you're looking at your own Instagram and your own Facebook and your social media, really think about like, well, how would this look if this were in a magazine? Would this jive? Would this look good? Would this market well to people? So keep those things in mind. And I think, the last thing is really focus on your Instagram bio. It sounds so silly, but it's actually a really big deal. I can't tell you how many times I see either nothing or just like tons of text. All that kind of stuff tends to get lost in the sea of like all the Instagram accounts. But when you come across a page where someone has taken the time to do something as detailed as create an interesting bio, I think it sparks people's interest more, right? So you have the document. It's actually from Chelsea Pearson. She did the Instagram bio tricks training. And so I took her stuff as well to give you guys. Now, she and I both do stuff where we use, emojis in our Instagram. You center it. You use cool fonts to create interesting fonts in your bio. You can center, your bio, you can, in your bio, pick, some of those things that you chose, your 3 to 6 things, and you reflect those in your bio. I know Chelsea Pearson's is like, eat clean, train hard, or something like that. And because she likes to post about some of her food and her workouts. So get creative with your Instagram bio. Make sure your email is in your Instagram bio, right? People need a way to contact you. And link your Beachbody website or your personal website to your Instagram, right? There's a spot on your bio when you click edit bio that will allow you to put in your website, put it in there. It's really, really important that people have a way to see and get to know you more. You just look more professional, you look more put together when all these little minor details are thought about and reflected on your page. A couple other minor things before I open the floor to questions. Show your face. What I've come across is that, the great thing about Beachbody, right, is we have so many different kinds of people. We have extroverts, we have introverts, and, that's what makes for a great, well-rounded group of coaches. What I have noticed, though, is maybe more of the introverted folks are afraid to post their face on there. They like prop off their weight loss transformation photos, like at the neck. So when you're posting your transformation, or even when you're just posting in general, post your face. People want to see you. They want to know who is behind this account. They want to get to know you. If you show your face, they're more likely to trust you and feel comfortable reaching out to you and interacting with you. Another thing is, commenting and liking on people's stuff, right? So, a couple ways to do that is when someone comments on your stuff and maybe you see them commenting regularly, you'll follow them back, comment on their own stuff, right? Like their stuff. Another thing that myself and other team members have started doing is, going to the, hashtag explore page or wherever where you can kind of search for people's stuff and enter in a hashtag that maybe is relevant to you. So maybe if you're into yoga, there's a great hashtag called Yoga Every Damn Day. And you can click on that, and then you can see everyone who's posted a photo using that hashtag. And then you can just start scrolling and liking their photos and commenting on the ones that really speak to you. And that's how you start reaching out and starting that relationship with people, so that at some point you can have the conversation about, Beachbody. So those are the most important tips I think that I have with social media. And I think that for me, by doing these every day and every week and every month, it is what helped me be successful. This is 99.9% of how I do my business. I don't have to do any face-to-face stuff. Facebook doesn't really give me much of anything, but Instagram, that's where I get everything. And that is how I got 207 Success Club points in September. So it's possible to have your business be successful on social media and even Instagram alone. I think the key is finding a platform that works for you. So if it's Instagram, focus on Instagram. If it's Facebook, focus on Facebook. Shailene Johnson talks about in her podcast, which if you haven't watched them, watch them, by the way, or listen, I guess it's more listening, but listen to her podcast. She has an amazing one on social media. And it's true when she talks about platforms, right? You got to find the platform that works for you, right? You have to know your audience. For me, my age group and my audience and my niche, Instagram is the best place for me to be. That's where the majority of folks my age and in my age bracket area, that's where they're going, and that's where they're really active. So you got to find what works for you. Pay attention to those things. But don't feel like you have to be on every single social media platform. That takes up way too much time, and you end up not being as effective when you try to spread yourself too thin like that. So pick what works for you at the most two. And just really focus on that and figure out, what times of day work best for you. I know in my files, that I gave you guys, I talked about the specific times of day that work the most for getting the most likes and interactions and that sort of thing. And those seem to work for me. But, keeping an eye on that, because those times might not always work for you. So figure out a time when your followers are interacting with you the most and then post then. So with that being said, I can't think of anything else more to talk about. So I guess I can open up the floor for folks.
A quick question. Now, you mentioned Facebook doesn't give you much, but I've noticed that your name is different in Instagram than Facebook. Is that on purpose?
It is.
Yeah.
For my legal career, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I have a Facebook like page, which has my same name as Instagram, which has my same name as my website. All of that is the same. But I try to keep my personal Facebook page for family, friends, clients. And now I've opened it up to Beachbody coaches. But before, like if I didn't know you, I wasn't adding anyone, just as a precaution, because I have lots of attorneys and judges on my Facebook, and I didn't want them like seeing all this, like, me and my spankies, information. So, yeah, but I'm slowly transitioning a little bit more. But I do have my full name on my Instagram, in my Instagram bio. I have it written exactly as it is, with my coach ID. So people from Instagram still find me. So they follow me.
And so you also mentioned that all your success clubs came from Instagram. So how do you, are you doing like a calling for like a challenge group or things like that? Or how do you?
I am. Let me see, because we can screen share. Let me pull up my Instagram and I'll see if it will pull up, because I actually just did a post today. Yeah. So let's see. I do stuff for challenge groups and for coaches. I do post every week or so about that. It just depends. If I have too many people already on board, I won't post as often. So it does depend. There we go.
That would be a nice problem to have, too many people on board.
Well, like I said, I failed like miserably a couple times. So in the summer, during the bar exam, I decided to do a PIO with Erin challenge, and that was where people didn't have to have Shakeology, because normally everyone has to have a challenge pack purchase. But I decided I'm just going to open it up for folks. I'm going to just do PIO, and we'll see how that goes. And there were like over like 90 to 100 people in there, and that challenge group was a major flop because large challenge groups don't work. They just don't. So I learned the hard way. It's like everyone was participating for like the first like week, and then they were like, this is too overwhelming, and I was like, oh. So I learned that I got to limit it.
Yeah. So in September, when you get 207 Success Club points, are those all new customers that are in a challenge group? And how do you manage that?
I do separate smaller groups. So for October, because my September was the month that I had a bunch. So
right.
So for October, I had broken it up into 2 main challenge groups with 30 people apiece, or like 30 to 36 or something like that. And so that's how I managed that. And the way that I made it so I wasn't overwhelmed is I used Hootsuite to auto-schedule all of my challenge group posts every day. And then that way I could just go in and comment on stuff. Right. And then I also had the settings set to where folks could only comment on my posts, right? It wasn't a free-for-all. That way I could see threads. I could see, okay, well, this is, everyone's posted on the mandatory post, and then here's the open forum post where people can like ask questions and post bragging rights and that sort of thing. And then I had my like actual, post from Beachbody's challenge group guides, like here's how to do the perfect push-up, or, something like that. So I had my 3 posts a day. They were all auto-scheduled. And that worked really, really well. And all those challengers ended up losing well over 100 pounds in October. So it was really.
Sorry, that's interesting. So they don't post in the page other than on your threads.
Correct.
That's awesome. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it makes it easier because otherwise I was missing stuff. And then people would get really pissed off with me, like, you didn't see what I posted. And I'm like, no, but I thought I did. You know, comment on something from like 2 weeks ago, and it would come up as like the first thing on your feed, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Is that, do you do that through a rule, or do you just tell people to just, do you schedule a rule? Is it something that you put on Facebook, or?
Yeah, watch. I can even show you. Okay, I'm going to hit.
Oh, I think that's awesome because I think that's one of the things that I know I'm struggling with right now is being overwhelmed with missing a lot of stuff and feeling like you have to scroll through 100 posts in 3 different challenge groups.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And that's what's hard. So I do it that way. Now, my November challenge group has about 80 people in it, but there's like 20 people who are new coaches on the team. So that's why I'm going to screen share so you can see my November challenge. So that's why there's that many people in there. But we're doing a little bit larger one this month, but I have a little bit more help too, which awesome. So if you do ever do a large one, have help because it's way.
Well, generally the way we're running them now, we do have multiple coaches in there, so that's been nice. But
yeah. So yeah, and let me show you what I exactly send to people and what's in our files tab. We utilize our files tab very frequently. I mean, I just kind of have everything there and they just know. So can you guys see my screen? Okay. So here is the November Fitness Challenge, right? So here today you have someone's open forum, people posting. So, and these open forums tend to be really popular. People like it a lot. They can show their sweaty selfies. They can do, their recipes like you see here, wanting to share their progress. So that's awesome. Now here are our mandatory posts. Let me get a better one. What we do in the first weekend is we have a point challenge to where like if they have like a soda, if they have a cheat meal, there's certain points that they can accrue. So if they're eating out, it's 5 points every time they eat out. And then the person with the lowest number of points will get a little something from me. And I think they have until the end of the day to post what their weekend was. But so, where is it? I did that one today because I was surprised at how many pounds and inches everyone was losing. But yeah, so you have your mandatory posts. And I'll post other little things that I see. This is that point system that I do on the weekends. And it seems to really help people stay on track, and they get excited about having a little opportunity to win something. So there are those. So you can see those, and then you have your motivation post. This is taken directly from our Beachbody Challenge group guides. I use those all the time. They're great. But yeah, so the mandatory posts are different each day, right? This day I wanted them to do a yoga pose. And so here we go. So now I'll go back up to the files tab. Now I send out instructions every time we start a challenge group. And it goes over, you need to start in the files tab. There's a welcome post that goes over things. Which actually, why don't I pull that up? That might make more sense. And then we can go to the files tab. All right. Okay. So this is our welcome post that's there when they first get here. It's a lot of stuff, but it goes over everything that they need to do. So they need to take a few minutes to review the file section in this group to get, their recipes, their meal plans, and the challenge group guidelines. Goes over all of that. If folks are still waiting for their program, which I try not to let people sign up too late, but sometimes I'll extend the deadline. I have free workouts that they can do at home. I have a free 1 month meal plan that I give out for people to use for the time being. I also have blank weekly schedulers because I notice that people struggle with time management. So I try to help them with time management so they do fit in their workouts and their meal planning and that sort of thing. So I have a blank weekly schedule. And then again, I go over the fact that they need to read and sign our challenge group guidelines, give them my phone number, that sort of thing. So that's the long post that they have to read when they first sign up. And they know to read that post because in my welcome email to the challenge group, I give them the link to the challenge group. And then I give them some instructions, say you need to read the welcome post. You need to review the files tab. And you need to make sure that you send me your before photos and measurements by X date. Here's my phone number. And so they already know that. So by the time they get to the group, they know what to expect. Now, my challenge group guidelines look like this. So I go over about how daily they must post about their workout, Shakeology, and nutrition. And the way that I have them do that is my mandatory posts. Usually every day, except for the occasional posts, I ask them, how did you make your Shakeology? What was for lunch? What was your workout today? And so that's usually in the mandatory posts. So that way they are focusing on that, right? Then goes over the support and encouragement and positive thinking, how we need to be here to encourage and support people, and how you must put a positive spin on stuff. Super important in these groups because I'm sure as many of you know, if someone posts a negative post, it spreads like wildfire. So I try to nip that in the bud ahead of time, and especially with Shakeology. That's my least favorite, is when people like are first trying it and they're like, ew, this is disgusting. It's like the first day and you're like, well, how did you make it? And they're like, I just put some water in it. And I'm like, don't post about that. You know what I mean? Give it some time. Be positive. It's like, you don't want to tell people who are like maybe still waiting for the program that this is disgusting and they just spent $160 on their challenge pack. So
right.
You try to keep it positive. Then we go over before photos and measurements. And before, I didn't make this a requirement. I said, I encouraged it. I was strongly encouraged. But I found that in order for me to grow my business and to actually really coach them, I need those measurements and I need those photos. So I am on them about that. And every Sunday, they have to send me their weekly measurements and photos every Sunday.
I find this very interesting. I was just reading. So they do not post them in the group. They're just to you. So they're entrusting just you.
Yes. Well, they can post in the group, and I encourage it. But so many people are just not comfortable with that. And so I don't want to scare them off. I still want to encourage them. So usually by the end of the challenge, everyone's posting their photos and they don't care. But in the beginning, people are still dealing with some body image stuff. They're feeling, insecure and unsure about this process. So they send them to me. But yeah, because before when I was like, you have to post them in the group, that never works. And I got like one. So yeah, they send them to me every week. And again, on Sundays, like I said, weekly recaps. And I have to remind them, put a reminder in your phone, send them to me. And this is the way that I can keep track of them, especially in a large group, right? It's the way that I know that they're participating and that they're paying attention. And that seems to work really, really, really well. As I can say, okay, Sunday reminder, Sundays, guys, make sure that you send me your recaps, and I can keep track of who's participating. And in that way, I can go back and personally message those who seem to have fallen off the wagon. And then another one is using my cell phone number is the most important way to contact me. That's huge, just giving people boundaries. Otherwise, I have people like writing me comments on Instagram. I'm like, y'all, I do not see those. I will miss those for the most part. Or, tagging me in some obscure posts on Instagram or like on Facebook even. And I'm like, I don't see that. So, I kind of set those boundaries. They have to review all the files. I remind them, again, I always talk about it when they first sign up, but people still seem to kind of skim over that. I remind them again that their Shakeology is on auto ship. Remind them if they want to cancel, they need to do it by this time. Here's the phone number. Just so no one gets upset when they're like, oh my God, I got charged again. They've been reminded. So,
right.
And then that's pretty much it. So, and then, in our files tab, I also have other stuff, and I'm happy to give you guys this stuff. It's on my website, and I can send it to you guys. I actually created meal plan templates for 21 Day Fix, PIO, which we're not doing PIO in this group, so you can't see the PIO. But there's, a program tutorial that basically walks you through the 21 Day Fix in a better way, I think, because I think 21 Day Fix kind of jump around a lot. And they're like, you can have certain things on 3 days a week or whatever. So it kind of walks you through and explains to you why you're doing things. I created a chart, how many containers you need daily and weekly. And I actually figured out the measurements for each one so they can figure out, okay, well, if I'm going shopping, this is how much I need to fill this many containers. Then there's a chart for frequency of things that you can have and other stuff. So there's that. There are, meal plan templates that I've done that go over, weekly and daily. Because some people like to see stuff, weekly. Some like to see it daily. My daily ones are a little bit more detailed, and they're usually something that I give to people who really struggle with making the right choices and need more help overall, right? They want to maybe working on like maybe how they feel about themselves or positive self-talk or, you know, trying to figure stuff out. So I usually have them, why is this so zoomed in? But anyways, you can see like there's a container breakdown over here, kind of spread things out. They can fill in the day. You know, every day has the workout of the day, but they can put notes, their strengths, their areas of improvement. And so that's like their daily ones. But there's all sorts of stuff, right? I have, like I said, my blank weekly schedule. I have the 3-day fast fix for the 21-day fix, you know, worked out already for them with the grocery list and the meal plan. I put the Shakeio treats. I put the calendars that we get for Shakeology. And then here, with the recipes in the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, that's just a meal plan that I've created using a variety of Beachbody programs. And that's for folks, again, who maybe, you know, are waiting for a program, or maybe they just want to use it after they're done with the challenge, right? And there is an ebook, a 21-day fix recipe ebook that's they can use. So that's what I put in my files tab. If we're doing PIO along with it, you'll see all the PIO meal plan templates where I've actually already spaced out everyone's requirements throughout the day. So that's pretty much how we do it. We have an Instagram post so people can follow each other on social media. But that tends to be how my challenge groups are run. Now, as far as Instagram goes, and you were asking about maybe what some of my posts look like when I post, this is what today's looked like. So you have 2 videos side by side. This was made using the Bubble Frame app. So you just have some of my client progress photos, and some of mine just kind of goes over some brief stuff. But it's in the comment section that you'll see a breakdown of what's included in my challenge, you know, all the important email info and other stuff. So, you know, sometimes I'll just post text. Sometimes I'll just post a transformation photo of, you know, my client. It just really depends. So I don't know if I still have some of my other ones on here. I don't believe I do. I think I took them down. I tend to take them down afterwards because otherwise I'll still get a bunch of people ask me, oh, here you go. There's November. So that one's more just text. So, you know, that's kind of how I do those.
Yeah.
So.
One time we went to a Super Saturday with General Summers, and one of the things she was saying is post all of your tags in the comments. Mm-hmm. But then if I remember correctly, she also said that she would like take them down after a certain period of time and repost them again. So do you do that?
I do. But then after a while, I mean, I'll take them down once and maybe repost them, but I leave them after a while. So, okay. Yeah, but I definitely do recommend posting your comments in the or your hashtags in the comment section. Unless you have like only a couple hashtags that are really witty and really go with the post, then, you know, you can have them in the photo caption themselves because that's part of the post. But if you're doing blocks of hashtags, they should be in your comment section.
Okay.
So now you do, well, number one, your Instagram pictures do look great. They are bright. They were catchy. Way better than my dark photos that you had mentioned earlier in the call. But you had also mentioned that Instagram, obviously you have 55,000 followers or whatever it is, but there are 250,000 Beachbody coaches and they're all on Instagram roughly. Yeah. How do you deal with that when you come across them so often and I guess you are on Facebook, obviously running challenge groups. So how does the process, like you said, if you get a comment on one of your Instagram pics, you don't always see that. How do you deal with that communication or 5-step process or getting them to Facebook or how that goes?
So I won't always see the comments right away. But so if I'm posting about a challenge group or about coaching, you can guarantee I am commenting back on those. I am specifically watching those. It's like my other random posts, like when I post about my workout or whatever that, you know, I don't pay as close attention to. So, but if I, like today with my challenge group post, I did pay attention to people asking me questions, well, what's the difference between 21 Day Fix and PIO? And is this good for beginners and that sort of thing? And I watched that and I commented. So a lot of what I do is I invite them to email me. They can either email me to just sign up, right? And they have the 4 things they need to give me to sign up. Their name, an unregistered Beachbody email, or an unregistered email address, the flavor of Shakeology they want, and stuff like that, and the program. Now, what I do say is they can email me with questions, and oftentimes they do. And then from there, I talk to them about, a little bit about who they are, what their needs are, what their goals are, and that sort of thing. Now, I will say, though, with having so many followers and having this brand, my invitation process has gotten much simpler, actually, because I built that recognition, that trust with my followers, that I don't have to be as worried about certain things as you do if you're just kind of reaching out to someone, right? I just can post a post and people will
Right.
email me.
I'm in.
Which is a blessing. But, there are people who I do have to go over the whole process. This is what Beachbody is about. This is what 21 Day Fix is about, or this is what Shakeology is about. And on my website, I talk about what the 21 Day Fix is about, and everything you need to know. Same thing with Shakeology. And I still send them those things, and I send them the, either the program guide or, info on Shakeology, maybe a video, and I explain it to them. And then we really talk about it in depth. So there is that for those folks. But there are some that'll just say, I'm in, I want to sign up, and that's great, and that makes the process easier. But I think part of, forming, our form process that we have to do, a lot of that is done by creating this brand and creating this story and sharing my story, and always talking to them about what's going on with me, and so they feel more comfortable. I invite them to things on there. And so that's the way I kind of do it on social media.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, obviously, as simple as asking them to email you is a great way to, because that's always the process, is getting that response so then you can interview them and start the process.
Absolutely. And what I have done in the past, too, is I have told them, hey, why don't you go, if you're interested in my challenge groups, here's my February challenge. I did this for the release of the 21 Day Fix, and it worked really well. I said, if you're interested in the 21 Day Fix, go fill out an application to join my March challenge group. And it was their name, their email, their age, their experience with Beachbody, why they'd like to join the challenge group, if they have a Beachbody coach, if they've ever tried Shakeology before. I ask all these questions, and they submit it to me, and then I select people from there who are ready. Sometimes, when I have done that process, I've just selected everyone. But, having that feeling of exclusivity really kind of ups the ante for people, and they like that. They want to be a part of something. And so if it's as simple as applying to something and being selected to join this, exclusive group, that has been something that's worked for me as well. So I use that as my invitation, right? Apply a limited spot.
Cool. I've got a few more questions, but I'll let anybody else ask if they have them.
Yeah, we do want to, we're getting close to an hour here, so we want to be aware of that as well, so we don't overstep our boundaries with Erin, and she never wants to come back on a call.
My call after this canceled, so we are good to go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead, David. Ask your question.
Well, in that case, a pot of coffee.
No.
I think I know the answer to this next one, but you had mentioned shout-out pages, and I'm guessing that's just popular Instagram pages with a ton of followers, and they offer the service of giving you a shout-out. What does that usually cost when you're looking at paying for something like that?
They vary. So the one that is probably the most pricey, but like I said, worth it, is Train and Transform. And I think I've spent like $70. And y'all are probably thinking, oh my God, you spent $70 shouting out your page. But think of it as a business investment. That shout out I did was actually my profile picture on Facebook. So I don't know if y'all have seen it. It is a face transformation of me when I was over 200 pounds and then me today. And I started, when I was shouted out that day. I was at 50,000 followers, and by the end of the day, it was 54,000 just by that post. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it is worth it. I've gotten, several hundred from them before, but, they have a really active following. And they're not just like random scammers either, right? They're actual people who are on their weight loss journey. So,
and I was just going to say, is there like somewhere where is there a list of legit shout out pages, or how do you come across those?
Yeah. And I put them on, put the ones that I'm really familiar with on that document.
On the document.
For like weight loss and like bodybuilding stuff, and for food. So those are on there. Like I said, my favorite is Train and Transform, and he actually owns several of them, like Train and Inspire. But the way you get shouted out on some of those is going to like igshoutout.net, and there's like a couple other ones that actually are like the home base for a majority of big shout out pages. So you can kind of view which pages they are, right? They'll give you like a couple of them on there, and you just want to pick a shout out page that kind of really focuses on your niche and your kind of what your followers would like, what they would like, because you don't want to like post on like some like fit girls guide,
right.
Like, I mean, the ladies might love it, but it might not get you the following and the clientele that you would want to help grow your business.
Yeah.
He works all around women.
I just say I run an all women's boot camp, so that's not a problem.
There you go.
Well, and $70, I mean, that's one challenge pack. That's one T25 challenge pack. So, I mean, that's a small investment for 4,000 followers.
It really is. It really is. So, I can't say enough about, making those investments in your business, even if it's not just like a shout out page, but even if it's recognition gifts for your coaches and your challengers, spending the money to give small tokens of appreciation to those on your team and those who have invested in your coaching really does help your business.
Yeah. Very cool.
Erin, if you were to have like a brand new coach that is sort of shy, doesn't really do social media other than Facebook posts every once in a while, I mean, how would you start that coach? How would you encourage her to, run the business?
Yeah. So, and that's been something I've actually had to work on, right? I tend to actually attract quite a few introverts who want to be extroverted, right? They want to be able to put themselves out there, but they don't know where to start. So what I've learned to do is I have a whole entire week in Coach Basics where I train them on social media and Instagram. And, part of their daily assignment, during that week, might be, okay, today you need to share your story on social media. I want you to post a photo of yourself or your transformation, and I want you to tell them about your story. Then maybe by the end of the week, I want you to post a video of you doing a workout. We always start though with our business activity tracker. I use that as my go-to guide for them. And I say, if you're not used to posting, at least do these 3 posts a day. And if you're having trouble remembering, the post, like I told you guys, it's, maybe breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe it's setting reminders in your phone that during certain times of the day, you're going to do that. Using your workout as just an automatic thing you post, right? Doing videos. Videos of you doing your workout are great ways to gain lots and lots and lots of followers, actually. People really like those videos. So using those sorts of things and just finding a way to keep yourself accountable. So, but for me, what works is, setting a reminder in my phone for all sorts of stuff. But that's what I kind of tell them to do. Set a reminder. And then, I'll teach you in Coach Basics over the course of a week, some very intensive stuff. We'll go over all the stuff I told you guys tonight, but I break it down usually and go, into more depth. And, we have assignments each day to try to get them out of their comfort zone. But I also tell them too, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just not. So taking the first 30 days to really get down those 3 vital behaviors and using social media as a way to implement those 3 vital behaviors, and our business activity tracker, suggestions. That's what I try to have them focus on.
I heard, hi Erin, my name's Chris. I heard you talking about some about Shalane Johnson and her podcast. Have you done her Instagram thing, or do you recommend that, the Instagram Impact?
I haven't actually, but I've just taken what she's gone over in podcasts, and some of Chelsea Pearson's stuff, who actually did her Instagram Impact and is one of her little gurus. I take their stuff, and if that's something you think you would like to invest in, absolutely go for it. I think there's so many resources online, and Shalane does offer a lot of the stuff for free, so I would start with your free stuff first. I mean, if you're going to invest in anything with Shalane, do her Smart Success seminar. Absolutely. That is something. That is one that I am on the wait list for. I think it's like $900, and I'm going to invest in it because I believe in Shalane that much. She has lots of great trainings too. You can do her free 30-day push, which is a great way to grow your business. And I have done that, and I do suggest that for coaches. But definitely just subscribe to her podcast, because she has lots of great stuff, and subscribe to her emails too. She gives out lots and lots of free stuff. And her podcast, I listened on them from driving from New Mexico to Arizona one day, just all in order. And it was amazing. My mind was blown. I'm like driving on the highway, like, I need to implement this now. I need to do this now. Because she just has so many great tips. So I would start with some of her free stuff first, for sure.
Any other questions, guys? Or are you guys like me and you got a million things driving through your mind right now, but you don't know where to go? So
that was very informative.
I know. I guess I'm relatively newer to Instagram, and I think a lot of us on this call would agree with me. Can you personally message on Instagram?
You can, and it's called direct messaging. I personally don't do it because I have too many followers, and I get some weirdos that send me weird stuff. But
sorry about that. No.
You can personally message people, and actually, I would suggest doing that. If you're following someone, or if someone is following you, and they're someone that always consistently, likes your posts or comments, direct message them. Tell them thank you. Tell them, hey, I, have this challenge going. I know you're really, you're consistently liking my workouts and my Shakeology posts, and I want you to know there's, an accountability and support group that I run, where we do these things. And if you're interested, I'm happy to give you more info.
Okay. I'm looking at my app right now, my phone app for that. Where is that?
Let me see if it's on my computer. Let's see if it's on my homepage, and then I'll screen share if it's on my homepage. No, it's not. So on your phone, it is going to be, you're going to be on your homepage, and there's going to be like a little message inbox in the top right-hand corner. Like, it looks like you can just drop some mail in there.
Okay.
And that's where you can go. There's the plus button where you take a photo, right? And the plus button is, so you've clicked on the little mailbox, then you click on the plus button, and it brings up your camera. So you can take a photo of whatever. So maybe it's you taking a photo of, just saying thank you for following me or something, or whatever. You take the photo, and then from there, it's just like any other Instagram post. You click next, and you can write the caption. You can write whatever you want to send them. And then where it says to, it'll say search or choose below, and it'll give you some suggested folks, but you can type in their screen name, and then, click on it, and it will send it to them privately.
Okay.
You do it, and then you'll get a little notification up in that right-hand corner again in that mailbox when they've responded.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. So
it says that it's that.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And I think, another thing that I have really learned over the last year is always leading with your story, and just because that's how you overcome objections, right? And even when you're posting on social media, always lead with your story. Always make it personable. That's how you overcome those objections, right? Because people can argue with facts and stats and all that sort of stuff, but they can't argue with your story. So if someone gives you an objection, like, maybe you post about Shakeology and you're like, this was so good. Like, I love that Shakeology has helped me curb my cravings. Here's today's yummy recipe. You guys should try it out, or whatever, right? And someone says, well, how is that any different than Herbalife, right? You can say, well, I don't know about that. I do have some comparison charts, but I don't personally know about that. But what I do know is that Shakeology is blah, 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 right? And you can go on and tell them, this is my experience with it, and I'm happy to give you more information if you're wanting it, right? Because that doesn't come off salesy. That just comes off as, well, here's my story, and I'm happy to help you if you want more info.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice, because too often we get caught up in wanting to throw facts out there, and people, like you said, can argue facts and can, challenge you on things, but you can't challenge somebody when they say I feel, or this is my story. So
yeah, absolutely. And so like, even with, challenge group posts, like when I post about my challenger success, I post about their story and how it makes me feel and how it makes them feel, and how I'm excited to share that with more people, and so it's a way of tying in an invite for them to contact you or get more information without coming off as like super salesy, and another thing too is a common mistake that I see is coaches just posting promotions, right? This is this month's promo, right? And they just post a photo of the challenge pack or whatever, and while the post might look good, it just doesn't have that finesse that I think you need, and that can come off too salesy. So instead share your story with the program, or maybe a client story with the program, and have like a photo of your client or a photo of you doing the workout, or something. Get creative, but always make it personable. Absolutely.
Now, I have seen on Instagram, like, I do follow like a lot of like Beachbody coaches and stuff, and I've seen most coaches would post when they do a workout is either the 21-day fix or T25 or X3. Then when I look at your pictures, you have a lot of pictures of the gym, and you seeing the elliptical, and going for a run and things like that. So I haven't seen like so many pictures of the actual, Beachbody program. And it seems like it has worked for you that way. Am I right?
Yeah. So, and I will post, like right now I'm doing Les Mills because I love that program. But I'm doing the 21-day fixed meal plan with it. Right. So, I will post me doing the Les Mills workout, which I can also do at the gym. So it looks like I'm getting out and doing more. But I also am starting to do more at the gym. And that's because I want people to relate to me in multiple areas. I don't want to just be a Beachbody coach. I want to be, a lawyer and a Beachbody coach, and like a yogi, and someone who likes a good margarita. You know what I mean? I want to be relatable. And so I post about me going to the gym. And people do respond to that, but that hasn't hurt my business because I'm still posting about Beachbody stuff. It's a balance, right? Of saying, I'm doing Les Mills, and I can do that at home in the comfort of my own home, or I can go to the gym and do it with my friends because they offer Les Mills classes at the gym. And, here's my meal plan. Like, I'm still eating it when I'm out, or, you know what I mean? And you can do those things. You can talk about the benefits of adding in cardio to your Beachbody programs, So that's kind of definitely what I try to do. I don't like to post just photos of programs. So.
Let's see, I got another question. You Hootsuite all your challenge group stuff, which is obviously a huge time saver. Do you actually set aside a scheduled time in your week to do your Instagram post, or do you just do those straight, at a certain time? I know you said you could set your alarm, or you could do them during a meal time, but like some of those, that challenge post looked real good. There's a lot of font, there's a lot of that. So that takes a little bit of time to put together. Do you schedule time in your week to do that?
So I have a very detailed schedule. And I can send this, to you guys, screenshot or whatever. So my weekly schedule, like the green parts are where I do one-on-one calls. In the mornings, every morning I'm checking Instagram when I'm waking up and having breakfast. So that's when I start to respond to people. And I try to go through the previous day's posts. If I've missed something or whatever, I go back and comment. And then I do post in the morning. And then anything else is just kind of random, you know, just because I can just, you know, post at lunch or post at dinner. I do try to post my workouts, always post workout, and then my food for the day.
Okay. So, I mean, you kind of have in mind what you're going to post before the day starts. It may not be detailed yet until you get to that moment, but you know you're going to post about workout, food, and then this. And then you may work a little more time into the coach opportunity or the challenge group post.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, another thing I've done, so before I became a Beachbody coach, I was hosting these free Instagram fitness challenges, which I recommend if you're trying to grow a following, right? So they can be anything like, you know, do this many squats, this many lunges, this many minutes of walking each day or whatever, right? Build them up over a month, right? Give them something free to work with. Just like free clean eating challenges work really well, so do free Instagram challenges. So you can do that. That's what I was doing to gain followers when I first was on Instagram. And so that would give me content to post each day, right? But now for the rest of the holidays, you know how Carl Deichler said, okay, I'm challenging you guys to have like the healthiest holiday yet. And he posted this video. Well, I created an Instagram photo challenge called Healthiest Holiday Yet. And so for the, you know, all of November and December, I have a daily photo that people are supposed to post with a special hashtag, Healthiest Holiday Yet. And they have to tag me in it as well so I can see it and like it and comment on it. And that'll give them content and myself content every day. You know, so maybe one day it's their meal prep. Maybe it's another day it's their favorite fitness gear. Maybe another day it's, you know, what motivates them, that sort of thing. And that gives us some content to work with for the next 60 days.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Anyone else, or is
Wait, I got one. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much for all of your info.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. And you guys are always welcome to friend me on Facebook if you haven't already. And I'm always available for questions. So.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, Erin.
Thank you so much. Your everything. I mean, from the documents that you've sent us, you know, to just allocating time for us. I know you're super busy, and we truly, truly appreciate it. So
no problem. Well, thank you for inviting me. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, you're amazing.